I'm so New England that I'm a direct descendant of a woman that was burnt at the stake in the Salem witch trials. Sarah Wilde is my 13th great grandmother direct descendant.
What?
Witchcraft.
From Maine's cold coast to Connecticut pride, Vermont's green hills take it all in stride. Massachusetts traffic we grip and we grind with a Dunkin' iced coffee and no peace of mind. So New England stands up proud. Chowder thick, we shout it loud. From Fenway Chance to Rhode Island tide, New Hampshire's cry, live free or die. So New England with Ian Brownhill.
Good friggin' morning from New England, folks. Welcome back to episode 72 of the So New England podcast. I am your host, who is joined virtually by my co-host, Robert Travisano, a.k.a. RJ. And then, of course, all things life's better in New England, So New England podcast producer, Vinny G. Behind the lens, I'm curious to see where your little pop-up window is going to be. Maybe like on my shoulder this time, Vin. You always do something cool with it. And, guys, listen. We search high and low. We are on the internet 24/7, doing our best to source you guys some of the best guests that New England has to offer. And I promise you today will not disappoint. RJ, please give us a proper introduction to today's guest.
You know how we do in New England. This is going to be another one of those episodes where you're going to have to check in on your boy because I'm breathing heavy. I'm over here drooling at my own house. That's why I really couldn't come in today. And the food talk is going to be flowing. This foodie is joining us from Boston, but is from the great northern state of our beloved Maine. She comes to us today with the style that'll make you smile, the grace that'll put you in your place, and the appetite that has brought her all over sharing those delicious foods and meals with us and you and everybody else. We welcome the lovely Boston Food Journal, a.k.a. Brittany Di Capua.
That was the best intro I've ever gotten on literally anything in my entire 10 years of doing this.
That's what we aim.
Brittany, we had a rapper on a few episodes ago, and ever since then, RJ seems to be rhyming pretty consistently. So you might be in the presence of the next Eminem over here. I'm not sure.
And the next Eminem said my name. So you know what? I'll forever remember this.
I appreciate it.
Amazing. The Boston Food Journal. Brittany, thank you again for taking time to jump on the podcast with us today. We really appreciate it. We don't shy away from diving into the deep end at the beginning of every episode. So let's do it, Brittany. Yep. Tell us about you. How did you become the Boston Food Journal and what led you there?
Yeah. So I love this question because there was literally no plan. The Boston Food Journal just was a random thing that happened almost, I think it was 10 years ago now, which is crazy. So you could say I was one of the first influencers in Boston.
Yes, we love that.
Yes, before TikTok, before we were literally posting like sepia filtered pictures in the very early stages of Instagram. You know.
Let me take a selfie.
Yeah, those were the days, right? Life was so simple then.
XS Valencia, that was mine. I love that stuff.
Yeah, that was a good one. Did that have the little frame, like the Polaroid?
Yeah, I got to do the whole thing.
Yeah, see, those were the
I had everything.
days. I miss those days.
We thought it was the coolest too. There was nothing cooler than being able to edit all of your photos to look like that.
Literally
and Instagram too.
Yes.
What a dream. But yeah, so I have a kind of an unconventional background. I have an engineering degree. I worked in IT after college for many years, and I've always been a creative person. I like to dance. I liked music. I like to draw. So when I moved to Boston, I went to college in Worcester and then moved to Boston because I knew I wanted city life and something, I'm a New England girl. So that's why I love this podcast. Like, yes. I have never left New England and never will. So
we love that. Thank you.
We need them. Love it.
I knew I wanted to live in a big city, like close enough to my family in Maine. So moved to Boston and I was just, enamored by the food scene here. I grew up a foodie. Like for my family, what we were having for dinner was like what we talked about all day. On a Friday, it was like, where are we going out to eat? So eating together and enjoying food was something we loved, not just for the taste of food, but because it was symbolic of just like warm memories, family, togetherness. So I've kind of took that with me. And when I moved to Boston, I was just like enamored by how much authentic cuisine there was. Even on just one street, you can get any type of cuisine and it's so good. So I was loving that and then decided for fun, I'm just going to start, taking pictures of food because it was creative outlet. It was fun. Like I would look at a cocktail bar and be like, I love the garnishes and the colors, and just started practicing photography and branding and design and didn't know what to call it. And I was like, Boston Food Journal, sure. Like literally in 5 seconds. And, the rest is history, as they say.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So
Love that.
what part of Maine did you grow up in?
So I grew up in southern Maine. So I always say I spent half of my life in the woods and then the other half on the ocean in Wells. So I kind of have like
Best of both worlds.
vibes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I love it. And that's like the hidden gems that are often missed by the people who are not from New England. When we often say to people like, we've got everything here. We've got deep woods. We've got outdoor wilderness. We've got cliffs and roughs waters, and we've got beautiful beaches, and we've got coastlines like you wouldn't believe. That's why life's better in New England.
I am a hardcore, like Maine is my soul, even though I'm here now, I want to end up back in Maine, but it's just like, I saw someone recently said that the Maine coast was overrated, and I'm gonna challenge that because I disagree. But yeah, I agree. There's so much terrain here, and it's all so different. I just don't think they realize how much we can do with what we have here in New England.
Agreed. Now, would you say you're more of like a coastline-y person? Like, do you like the summers, the beaches, the sands, the water? Or do you like hiking, mountains, woodsy, outdoors type?
I like both. I'm not a winter sports activity person, which people are shocked when I tell them I just don't ski and snowboard. I just don't like to be cold. It's just a thing I have. But I mostly
I don't think anybody does.
Like, I just don't like the thought of being wrapped in all this coats trying to climb up a snowy mountain is just like the worst thing ever. But I like both. I grew up on the ocean is my air, I say. Like that's how I rejuvenate myself, and I feel like I can breathe when I'm around the ocean. But I also really loved going rafting and hiking, and I played in the dirt bike tracks as a kid, and made forts in the woods. So like I have I like both.
Well, see, I asked that because because of your challenge of our good friend Pete over at Origin saying that the coastline was overrated.
Yep.
I think it's just because he's such a woodsy guy that enjoys being out in the dirt and in the mountains that he was kind of like, oh, once you see it, you're good. So I think it's just a personality. But I think more New Englanders than not are very similar to you, where they're like, no, like catch me on the beach, but catch me in the mountains too. I'll do both.
100%.
And again, that's what makes this area so great.
100%.
Now, this is quite the juxtaposition for you to be an engineer going through all the proper courses and training and education to get yourself an engineering degree. And then you switch to one of the most unstable worlds for careers in social media content creating and, food blogging, like everything that you do. So I'm like kind of wondering how did that transition work well for you? Because I'm imagining that education and the brains you got has helped a ton with this business avenue.
Absolutely. Yes. I always so I speak to a lot of colleges and high schools, and I tell them you can take the skills that you acquire in something and apply it to something else. If you have a degree in finance and numbers, well, you can use finance and numbers to make marketing and creative decisions, right? So I was working in IT at New Balance, basically managing teams of engineers and developers, running application implementations. And the Boston Food Journal was kind of growing at that point. And I realized I really like this. I am an engineer, I'm a black and white person. I don't like to read. I'm not creative in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I love math. Like going to calculus was like really fun for me and enjoyable. I know that sounds crazy. So I'm very much like
very crazy to me specifically, but yes, continue.
I love that. I took all of them. So I was working in IT at New Balance. The Boston Food Journal was kind of blowing up, and New Balance was actually hiring for a digital marketing manager role. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want this. I had just managed a software implementation for that team, so they knew of me. And I basically went and pitched myself, with absolutely zero experience. And they hired me. So I worked there for, I believe, 2 years in marketing. And it was always a dream of mine to have my own company. My parents were entrepreneurs. I had LLC'd a agency name like a year into New Balance or 2 years into New Balance. And in 2019, I just decided like, I'm done with this. I'm a nonconformist. I don't really like being told what to do. I'm a Scorpio also. And a stubborn Mainer, So
quite the position you got going on there.
So basically, I just walked out of corporate America and started my own agency. So I run Boston Food Journal and do make money, obviously, through advertisements there. But my main, like 9 to 5, except it's a lot more than 9 to 5, is
Preach.
running a full service social media agency with a team here. And we service multiple clients across New England and run their digital campaigns and digital social media accounts. So
Amazing. What a fun. I did not know this. Okay, what's the name
That's
of your
so
agency?
cool.
it's 11/7 Media because that's my birthday and oddly my dad's birthday. We have the same birthday and he's kind of my mentor. So I decided to name the company after our birthdays.
That's
That's
fantastic.
a great birthday
Mhm.
gift too. As a proud
Yeah.
dad.
He says
Now,
that
when
every
it-
year. He says that every year.
Oh,
So it sounds to me like when you were mentioning that you don't necessarily lean into like the artsy culture of creativeness, but more the creativeness that requires you to mathematically put together like, okay, how can I turn social media? How can I turn brand advertising? How can I kind of pivot all of this so that it becomes like an income stream, but also scratches that itch for me versus like the artsy where it's like, I don't care where the money comes from. I just
Right.
need to be an artist.
And I think I love how you said that because I think that's why I've been able to run a successful agency because it's all about process creation. I sat down, to your point, it wasn't like, yeah, money's coming in here, money's coming in here. I created systems and a process for every one of my, financial streams and businesses and ran them in such a way that they then grew and scaled into what they are now. So it's like we always say engineers, all we do is if we don't know how to solve the problem, we get from A to B and B to C and C to D, and eventually you solve your problem. It's just critical thinking and problem solving. So I kind of, I think the ability to kind of think about one situation in different ways. So I just
Mm.
apply that every day, even to my work with Boston Food Journal. It's you can take that and think creatively as well. Like, how can I promote this brand, but in a way that ties back to being a foodie that also likes fashion and style? So it's just a mindset and way of thinking that I basically applied to everything I do.
That's wonderful. Fellas, let me talk to you for a second, man. Look, it's 2026 and you're not feeling like yourself lately. I get it, but it's time to do something about it. You got low energy, you're having bad workouts, you can't seem to focus. You are not alone. And trying to figure it out in today's medical world, hell, it can feel like a total hamster wheel. That's why we at the So New England podcast are wicked excited to be partnering with Game Day Men's Health. Now, here's a few fun facts. Your initial consult and lab work are completely free. And most of the results are done right in-house in about 15, 20 minutes. It's a medical office built specifically for men with licensed professionals who actually give a damn and explain what's going on so that they can create a real game plan for you. They offer testosterone optimization, peptides, yes, there it is, buzzword from socials, I know you're seeing it everywhere, peptides, ED solutions, because fellas, there ain't no shame in the game, baby, and more. All completely personalized to you, which was me and the fellas' favorite part. Check out one of their locations in Garden City, Cranston, or Wayland Square right in Providence. Quick, easy, professional, and we cannot recommend them enough. Check out the video on our socials of our personal experience if you'd like, so you can kind of see what it looks like firsthand. Because me and the fellas, we all got our blood work done, and we're now all on our own customized plan right from Game Days Men's Health. So what are you waiting for? Take control of your health today, boys. GameDayMen'sHealth.com and book your appointment today. What I would like to kind of dive into here, because this is a unique thing that, I have like my own creative strategist consulting where I don't necessarily want to do all of the things that you're doing because I am an ideas guy, right? I can come in and I can on the spot improv, come up with a bunch of crazy ideas that will be good for social media promotion. I'm not necessarily good at all of the other day-to-day executions, which is where I fall short. But what I do love about the way you're approaching this is New England, like we're in Rhode Island. New England thrives on the small business. And a lot of these small businesses are failing at this marketing stuff, which essentially is free, right? Because you can download TikTok and Instagram and go viral overnight.
Right.
And it's a missed opportunity. And they're spending their ad dollars in streams that are not necessarily conducive to their goals.
Right.
But at the same time, when I try and sit down and talk to these businesses and talk about the importance of it, they don't necessarily see the value in the dollar marks, right? Because as a macro, almost mega influencer that with my following, the numbers of what it costs to have like an investment with an influencer versus like tangible results on return aren't there. So I would like to hear how you and like your marketing agency, like what would be like, I don't want to say like a pitch, but
Yeah.
how can you communicate, which I'm clearly failing at,
No, I
like
completely know what
to
you're
these
saying.
brands, how this is beneficial and where it actually makes sense for them?
Yep. And obviously ROI and social, we all know it's like, it's really hard. And especially for what we do, right? Where it's like, I might promote a restaurant, but you can't say that the next day everyone there came from my page, especially
Right.
now when the algorithm pushes things out 2 weeks later. There's really no way to quantify that unless you have a code or whatever. So the way that I define success for my clients is through data points like reach and engagement. My thing is every month, if we're not reaching new audiences, we're likely not acquiring new customers. I can't say that I got, I earned you X $1,000 in the month of October, but I can say that through this, these posts, we've reached X thousand new local consumers. Therefore, you can conclude that if someone's following along, you've reached them, they're engaging, they will eventually convert into an actual sale. So that is how I quantify it. It's tangible data, and it's a way for them to understand that they are expanding their reach, which will result in an expanded sale.
Wonderful.
Oh
Yeah.
my!
Perfect. I hope any small businesses or
I was
local
gonna
people
say,
who are thinking about it.
how
Go
many
ahead, RJ.
business
Social media
classes
managers
did you
too, right?
take?
There's so many.
There is.
So many. I was gonna say, so we always talk about it. So my day-to-day job now is I work with a lot of engineers, but
Mhm.
it's crazy because I also went to business school and spent 8 years in banking.
Wow.
And it's like I feel like I'm sitting in a meeting right now with like all the powerful people because the way you articulated that was so pure. And I'm like, and I
Thank
had to
you.
catch myself because I was like, that's the side of like this stuff that I'm really interested in. Like I
Mhm.
try my best to be part of the podcast side of, like, what Ian doesn't wanna do, like, that day-to-day stuff, but,
Yep.
like, it's so interesting.
Mhm.
Everything you just said, I'm sitting here like, "Oh, I'm eating this up because 'cause I'm the same way. I don't
That's
like
why I
to
wanted
read.
her to do it because I was
Yeah,
like, oh, this is
I was
someone who's going to know
just
how to
eating
say
it
this
up.
stuff.
But
Guys.
it's so fascinating too. So, like, for you, when you're doing your posts in your creative side,
Mhm.
what side do you like more? The creative side of you doing stuff like posting and because I've seen some of your stuff and I think it's so fascinating.
Thank you.
Or do you like the behind the scenes stuff where you're crunching numbers and all that analytic where you're using that other side of your brain that it sounds like what drove you to go to school and get your degree?
That's such a good question, and no one's ever asked me that. I think the answer would be the creative stuff for me, it's not constant. So, like last night, and you guys probably understand this, I didn't fall asleep till 1 or 2 AM because I had this idea, and I was like, "Do I wake myself up from my kinda half sleep and put pen to paper and just flush this out, or do I go back to bed?" And I thought, "Well, I haven't really had any good, creative, exciting ideas in a while. I'm just gonna go for it." So I stayed up and just worked it out on paper. But that's not all the time. I don't wake up every day and be like, I have amazing ideas. I think being analytical, punching numbers, putting together strategies, that's really my bread and butter of who I am. The creative thing comes to me as more of an outlet, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's something I enjoy. It's a passion that I've turned into, you know, a full-time career, but that's something that when I have an idea, I'm amazed. I love my ideas, but it's like it has to hit me. It's not
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just flowing out.
Yeah. I
I,
feel like I have a very similar mindset because, I see what Ian does, and of course it's like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. He's my best friend. I've known this guy for 20 years. I could do this.
yes, you
And then
can.
I have these like small ideas and I try and act on them, but I'm very similar to you where uh my only downfall is I don't act on them like
Mhm.
that, where like if I'm in bed it's 1 o'clock and I'm stewing on an idea, I'm going right back to bed. I'm not getting up and doing that. So kudos to you.
I
But
do that too sometimes too.
yeah, yeah,
It's like, why though? Why don't we act on
yeah.
that? I even said like, hey, maybe when I'm in my right mind and it's not 2 AM tomorrow, I won't like this idea, but I deserve to give it a chance. But like
Mm.
that's the other thing with social media. I feel like, post your content, everyone says it, but it's like act on these ideas, like give them a shot. And if they fail, that's fine. Failure is actually a great thing at the end of the day,
Mm.
right? So
Absolutely. Nailed it.
Best teacher. Amazing. So let me ask you this, because it seems like you're kind of touching upon it. So let's kind of explore it a little bit more. And that's the creative side of doing what you do, because the Boston food scene is huge. We alone have probably had about 25 food influencers on here.
Mhm.
So what is it that you believe you're doing that sets you apart from other foodies in the area? And how can you, let's self-promote you here. Let's talk about why people should be following you and what you can provide.
I love this question because I always say to people, you know, 20 influencers can go to this restaurant and post the same mac and cheese. Why should someone watch my mac and cheese pull versus X, Y, and Z's? So I've always been thinking, how can I do something different? So, if you're familiar with my page, you probably know about my Meals on Heels series. So
Yes. Love that
I
one. So cool.
started that. Yes. And I actually produced a coffee table book, a t-shirt, and a candle where proceeds all went back to charity. I always like to give back to the community as well. But I kind
Wonderful.
of branded Meals on Heels, right? So I was like, how can I promote mac and cheese? Well, I'm going to put it on my foot with this kick-ass stiletto. I don't know if I can swear. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Swear it up.
Yep. We don't give a fuck.
So, that was a really big thing that kind of reinvented me. I do that series with a colleague of mine at New Balance. He shot a lot of the studio photography athletes. And we were just messing around in his studio one day with a bunch of props. And we tried it. And we were like, this is the coolest thing ever. But this is weird. Like, I think people might find this to be odd. So we posted it. And people freaking loved it. So I kind of created a brand that way and still promoted food at a restaurant, but in a very interesting way. So that, that kind of ran its course. I trademarked it. It's completely mine, but, you can't really stop anyone from stealing a concept. So that concept has been picked up by Kim Kardashian's brand, the other Kardashian's brand, Lemmy. Vogue Italia did a cover of a Meals on Heels. So it kind of got so picked up that I focus a little bit less on it now. But that was something I did to really differentiate myself. And then the other thing I do is I incorporate fashion and beauty into my food content. And now it's funny because I think a lot of my fashion content sometimes outperforms my food content. But for me, that's how I differentiate myself is no one can ever be me. No one can ever have my history, my story. I like to wear fun fur coats and, certain colors. And it's like, I find that just continuing to combine all of the things I'm passionate about, fashion, food, hair, nails, that continues to package me in a different light than just any traditional food blogger.
Incredible. I love
Great
that for
answer.
you. And I think it's as a hyper competitive market as it is here in New England, and just as influencers continue to grow.
Yep.
I too have been so fortunate to be a keynote speaker at a few colleges and universities here. And a lot of these upcoming marketing students are really interested in the influencer side of things and less of actually going into marketing, but they know this is the way to learn. So there is this whole new world of people who want to become influencers.
Right.
And what you're telling your story is two things I want to highlight just in case people missed it is one, everyone's doing it, but you're still you. And that's what separates you. And then two is that you coined a particular term and a particular movement, a particular photo in your case with the Meals on Heels. And that's a great way to kind of separate who you are, right? I've got the two slogans.
Right.
Good friggin' morning from New England. Everyone knows that means the New England video is going to be Ian. And then when I say life's better in New England, it's like my brand that follows me. Luckily, I have my great Vinny G behind the lens over here that helped me get that across the finish line. Yep. But I say all that for anyone that's listening that's interested in influencing, that the strategy behind it is you're you, people follow you for you, which is why even though you're not doing just food stuff at this point, you've branched out into these other avenues and they're incredibly interesting and why people follow you for you. So great work.
Your point, thank you. And to your point on recognition, it's really funny because I'm sure you get recognized, obviously, out in public. And it, depending on where I am, I do too. If it's my prime demographic, which is a 20 to 30-year-old woman.
35 to 60 women.
That ain't right.
People used to say oh, you're Boston Food Journal. But then there was a moment where they were like, oh, you're that girl that does the shoes. You're the girl that does the foot. And it was funny how that shifted during when Meals on Heels was really in its prime, so it's funny.
Love that. How would you say that Maine upbringing and that New England like love that you have has translated into your content as well. And like your work ethic and
Mhm.
kind of just harping on like how the region creates individuals such as yourself.
Yeah, and I have to share this on this podcast
Please.
before I answer that question. I'm so New England that I'm a direct descendant of a woman that was burnt at the stake in the Salem witch trials. Sarah Wild is my 13th great grandmother direct descendant. So that's how far my
What?
side has been in New England. My dad's from Italy and Jersey and whatever, but my mom's side has been in New England literally from the beginning. So that's how like Maine I am.
So New England first. We have a direct descendant of the same. There's nothing more New England than having a direct descendant of the Salem witch trials.
I know.
This
I knew
is
you guys
so
would like
New
that.
England, folks.
I could have led with that, but yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear about that for your ancestor. It was a crazy time.
You'll
Yeah, I
see
mean, it's
that one
crazy.
back on Instagram.
Yeah, it's my grandmother's maiden name. Like it's literally you see it in our tree. It's crazy, and she has a crazy story too. But to your point, I have a lot of Maine pride. I find that New Englanders, and I'm sure like a non-New Englander would listen to this and just roll their eyes, but like we have a certain way about us where we don't fuss on the frilly things. We just get shit done, and that's how I grew up. Like I grew up close to the earth. Like my mom used to give my sister and I buckets and say, go pick, and we'd pick blueberries. We'd have, stained hands, and we would just go out in our driveway and in the woods and pick blueberries. And it's like, I think that if you grow up like that, you have such an appreciation for the world and nature and where things come from and, the origin of things. So I've always grown up with that mindset. And, my mom was just tough as nails. My grandmother was tough as nails. She was in her final days out shoveling ice on her, steep porch, and we'd have to tell her to stop. So it's like, I just grew up with women being so strong, fierce, independent, that it's really all I know. And I think a lot of it is just like being a Mainer, we're just, like I said, tough as nails. So I just, my no bullshit approach to my business, which I very much have, is definitely attributed to my mom and all the women on that side of the family. Very no bullshit, get shit done, cry later. That's
Hell yeah.
it.
Hell yeah.
I feel like I'm pretty motivated right now. I don't know. I want to run through
Yeah.
a wall with that speech.
I'm going to the gym. I'll see you guys next episode.
Yeah.
But also, since you're the first person I've ever spoken to who's got descendants from the Salem witch trial, I don't want to make this your whole personality here, but we're going to have to chat.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that your direct descendant was a witch? Is there anyone in your family that's like a medium, psychic, or
Wait.
does you?
So we actually always laugh because my mom and I have like witchy tendencies. Like I'll have a dream and it comes true. But
Ooh.
all that happened. So the story about my ancestor is she was married and he passed away, and the townspeople wanted to take all of his farming equipment and all of her things, and she resisted and refused. She also was a little bit, kooky. She wore bright colors. And as we all know, back in the day, that was enough to be dubbed a witch. But
Right.
it is ironic because my mom and I definitely have some witchy,
I'm not
medium
saying that
shit.
you're wearing a bright pink shirt or anything right now, but the color scheme is kind of witch.
Let any man take
The
my
dots
farm.
are
from me.
connecting. Life dot connection theory here.
Yep.
That is
That's
not
funny.
how it goes. It's string theory. Stop saying life dot
That's
connection.
exactly what I said. Be careful. Brittany will cast a spell on you if you keep it up.
Right?
Oh boy,
I
here
got
we go.
crystals right over there if you want me to go
Yep.
get them.
What would you say was the hardest thing to learn growing up?
Probably learning how to like use, save, or spend money.
You legit worked in banking, did you not?
You're welcome.
Are you still with Dime Bank or are you too Hollywood now?
Okay, rude, but yes, I am.
Imagine your followers finding out you're with a Connecticut-based bank.
Okay, first of all, they have a branch in Wesley, Rhode Island, which is where we grew up. So really, that's brownie points because I'm sticking to my roots. Second, I think everyone would appreciate that I'm with a bank that knows and understands their community. Their tagline is legit. Community banking lives here.
Hey, I'm not asking you to sell me on it. I've been banking with them for years, and they know me on a first-name basis. I'm just saying I'm surprised is all. I can see the headlines now. Mr. Anti-Connecticut actually banks with local community bank?
Okay, you know what? Follow along with me here. They're FDIC insured, equal housing lenders, wicked friendly. They take care of all my personal needs, have expansive products to help all my businesses, offer lending across the board, merchant services. What more could I possibly want or need? And you know that I secretly like Connecticut, so.
Oh, I hope you heard that, folks. Dime Bank is the reason Ian loves Connecticut.
Okay, you're ridiculous. Funny story though. You know how they have like the mobile app with like banking, Lifesaver, you can do all the deposits. Have you tried to teach your mom how to do the mobile deposit
No.
yet? I was teaching my mom how to do it, and she takes a selfie instead of the check. Visit dimebank.com to learn more. Let's talk Boston food scene here, because this is a topic that is always hot in our podcast. It is a topic that has caused a lot of drama in the comment section of our videos. So let's hear your take on the Boston food scene as a whole. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Is there better towns, neighborhoods, city areas? Is there a dominant food scene that's better than another? Is there a weak one? Like, I want give me the Boston Food Journal official take on Boston food.
So I think that Boston food has made a lot of progress, and I think that we have a very diverse, awesome food scene. I think, though, what I pride myself on with my page is finding places that don't have the marketing budgets, don't have the publicists, that don't have the power behind them. And I like to go on my own dime, on my own time, try these places and promote them. So I think that there's so much culture and authenticity that exists. I just think so many of what we see in the bubble of media don't necessarily touch on those things, but it's there. There's, I love Chinatown. I spend a lot of time there, and definitely Chinatown is more on the map on social media. But there's so many amazing spots there that I would put up against any city. I've gone to New York City's Chinatown, Philadelphia. Like, I think that we are definitely up to par with all these other major cities. I lived in East Boston for a while. One of my favorite places, Reno's. No one really talks about that. They don't need the marketing because they're just so iconic. But I just think every neighborhood has something to offer. It's just people are a little bit stuck, I think, in their own bubbles to know and see that.
I gotcha.
If that makes
Talk
sense.
to me about this.
That's a great answer.
That's a great answer. Talk to me about like this drama with this Michelin star place. This is like the first. Have you been there? Do you know anything about? I'm genuinely, I've said this a million times on here, I'm not really like a foodie. I have like a huge discrepancy with the fact is, if I'm going to pay almost double market value for the ingredients in the food, you better wow me. And I'll be honest, I'm very rarely wowed by a lot of food, not because I'm picky, but it's just because I'm like, this just like, I'm sorry, I can get this chicken parm for $15 cheaper and it's going to be just as good.
Right.
But anyways, so I say that to say, I don't know much about the Michelin star world, how that all comes to life, but I know that someone got the Michelin star and everyone's been griping about it online. And I'd like to hear your take, not from who are they, but more of like your comment on the food scene itself.
I don't know enough about the Michelin criteria.
Okay.
Candidly, to answer from that front, but I do know the restaurant that got the star, and they're fantastic. It's an Omakase in South End, and they're actually good friends of mine. And it's a delicious experience. It's unique, and it's definitely luxe. And it's an experience. It's not just a dinner. It's an emotion. It's an experience. So I love supporting them, and I'm happy for them. Again, I don't know enough about the criteria. I'm glad to see Michelin coming to Boston because I feel like, again, we deserve to be recognized in that way, just like these other big cities, because we have so many eateries and restaurants that deserve that, golden star, if you will. So I'm happy to see it. I haven't really been following a lot of the negativity on it.
Yeah.
But I think
as
it's
you
a good
should,
thing.
and that's okay. We don't want to shed light on any of the negativity, but just more like. So talk to me about the experience then, because you said it's like a very and if you're comfortable with it, we don't have to. But what is it that makes it so special? Because I'm a sit down, here's my appetizer, and here's my meal kind of guy. So this sounds like it's a whole thing.
PSA, one of my clients is another Omakase, so maybe we can just touch on it lightly.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, whatever works.
Omakase in general. So
I don't know what omakase means. Is that like
basically it's a
tell the non-foodies here what that means. I'm
all right, so
go ahead and explain it.
I won't get the actual definition right. I'm going to explain it in my terms. But basically, it's a counter experience. It's a very small restaurant, if you will, but there's only a couple seatings a night. Most have two, so there'll be like a 5 p.m. seating and 8 p.m. seating. Everyone sits at the same time. There's no menu, and it's, 10 to 18 courses of fish that the chef
Oh my God.
prepares himself. So
Wow.
you sit there and you go through, maybe 3 or 4 appetizers, and then it's truly just variations of raw fish, usually imported from Japan, that the chef prepares the way that he likes. So you go in there, you have no idea what it's going to be or how it's going to be prepared, who you're sitting with. And again, it's very intimate. You're at a small counter. And that's usually the cool experience. And there's sakes that they pair with certain fish. You watch them do it right in front of you too. So they prepare and cut and serve literally right in front of you. So you're watching it as you're eating it. So it's a very, it's a cool experience if you've never tried it. But it's definitely you have to eat everything.
Yeah.
It's almost insulting to leave something on the plate. So you got to go there being ready to just like power through, eat it. If you don't like it,
Deal with
like,
it.
I
Don't say
like-
anything if you don't like it.
I don't like sea urchin at all, and that's typically in omakase. I will just like swallow it whole and like,
Sea urchin?
yeah, it's like I can't explain
I'm
it.
already out. I don't know what that is, but I don't like the name.
It's almost like I can't explain it. I don't like it, but I like when I go to omakase, I'm just like, all right, I gotta sit here and respect the experience and swallow it whole.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking us through that wonderful
Yes.
experience. I feel like I was just there, honestly. Wonderful.
Good.
Okay, someone's coming from out of state,
Yep.
and they say, "Man, I really want to do like a nice food tour. Maybe do some shopping since you're into fashion. Maybe
Mhm.
a makeup store or two, or something like that." What is let's call them outsiders in a respectful way?
Yep.
What is the day in the life that you would recommend? Walk us through. Where are we going to breakfast? Where are we having a snack, a
Ooh.
smoothie?
So I'm interesting because I'm so versatile. Like these questions are often hard because I love fine dining at Grill 23, but I also love McDonald's and, I'm just so versatile. So it's like I'm going
Gotcha.
to answer this from like my favorite things.
Yes, your favorite things. Love it.
First, I would tell them to go to Mike's City Diner in the South End and get the steak and eggs, which is like my number one. I Uber Eats it like once a week. It's so good. It's just it's been there forever. No Frills Diner. If you want something a little bit nicer, go to Metropolis in the South End and get their pancakes. They're one of my favorites. Then I would go to Newberry Street and I would shop at Baubles and Lace. That's one of my favorite clothing stores, and they have one in Providence.
They do. Yeah, we got one on here in Providence.
In, Portsmouth, and they're awesome. Female owned. Love it there. Lit Boutique's another one that's really great. And then for dinner, I mean, listen, I love the North End, but I don't think it's home of the best Italian food in the city.
Not the first time we've heard that take.
Yep. But I would recommend it just for the joy and experience of the North End. I do find the North End to be exciting and beautiful and fun. So if you were visiting and you've never been, I would definitely say, Brico is one of my favorites in the North End. Obviously, their espresso martinis are elite, and I love their gnocchi. It's amazing.
Mm.
So I'd recommend that. And then I know there's a debate always about the pastry shops, the Triangle.
Yes.
I like Bova's, but I'm a modern girl. So then I would say go to Modern, get a lobster tail and a Schweinedel.
Ooh.
Those are my favorites.
Schweinedel.
Say that one more time.
Schweinedel. At least that's like what we call them. There might be some dialect.
It sounds
there, but-
delicious.
Oh my God. I had one actually a couple days ago. Delicious.
Wonderful.
And
That
what are
sounds
we
like a great
washing
day.
that night down with, Brittany?
Oh,
There's
I
only
know.
one right answer. We've talked about this between you and I.
We have.
Yeah. A delicious
it's
Diet
Coke.
Coke.
Oh my God.
Whiskey Diet Coke.
You
Okay,
can
but
give your
bottle
real
or-
answer. I just thought that was funny.
Bottle or can?
Oh, from McDonald's fountain.
Oh
Obviously.
yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
No, can, not a bottle. I don't.
can exactly. It
Yeah.
goes McDonald's fountain can. Bottles
Always.
last. Yeah.
100%. The
Any
bottle's
true
last
Diet
resort if you
Coke
can.
drinker knows that hierarchy. Period.
Nailed it. All right. Sorry.
But,
But
for
you're the one.
cocktail,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to Grill 23 to have one of their martinis, which they dip in shredded ice. So you get a martini glass with ice like stuck to the rim. It's amazing.
That
Wow,
sounds
that's kinda cool.
delicious.
It's delicious.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, Brittany, let's get into our So New England segment here. We have got 6 beautiful states here in New England, and I'm going to need you to do me the biggest favor. I need you to rank them, 1 being the favorite, 6 being the least favorite.
Okay, easy. Favorite is Maine, born and raised. Next would be Massachusetts, just because I live here. I own a house here, so I'm stuck here for a while. New Hampshire would be next. I obviously living in southern Maine, spend a lot of time in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. So I love New Hampshire. The next 2, I don't really care. Like I don't spend time in Vermont or Connecticut. So like,
Now, have you gotten down to Rhode Island? We've got quite the food scene
Rhode
down
Island
here.
would be next. And then, yes, I like Rhode
I assume
Island.
that's what you meant.
Yes. And then Connecticut, Vermont, I don't care. I literally don't go there ever. So
It's fair.
I do like Rhode Island though. I'll give you those props.
What do you think of our food scene?
Oh, Providence has an amazing food scene.
Are we about to start the RJ? Let Brittany manage you. And we can make you the Rhode Island food journal. You can be the
I'm
break
down.
off sector, and you can just go around housing the food around here. You can go do what was the whatever the lobster tail thing is. We can find one of those
Okay.
around here.
For
We
sure.
can do one of those Michelin star things.
Yep.
Experience 18
I'm down if I can do
appetizers.
the heels thing. That's my
Absolutely.
only caveat.
I think we should do yours bare feet. You got cute
yeah,
little toes.
100%.
Then you can kind of get into the foot audience, you know? Hey, there could be a good
There
market.
you go. Money is money.
Money is
That's
money.
like money's
Greatly
Money
said.
is green, baby. That's it.
Yep.
I'm down. I'm so down.
We'll talk off. We'll make that happen.
Now, we haven't talked a ton about your travel experiences in your life, but
Mhm.
if you have, let's assume that you have, and you've thought, this beautiful city, state, country, continent, anywhere else in the world would actually be a great addition to New England. What would it be if you could add one?
I was just in France. So I'm going to say
Ooh,
Paris
oui.
because I really don't know. There's not a lot of French cuisine, in Massachusetts. And I just love in Paris, you can just smell bakeries from outside on the streets and like walk into any gas station and get an amazing ham and cheese. So I would love to see that a little bit more here in Boston, that kind of vibe.
Love it. Very,
Mhm.
very cool. Are you big into sports here in New England?
Yes.
Are you sporty?
Like-
All right.
Well, I'm not a sporty, but I'm
Right.
not like diehard sporty.
That's okay. So let's hear your unbiased opinion. We've got the Patriots, we've got the Celtics, Bruins, we've got the Red Sox. We also have the New England Revs, our soccer team. We've got the Free Jacks, which is our rugby team. We've
Yep.
also have a lacrosse
Well,
team and
Boston
so on.
Cannons.
Boston Cannons. Everything
Yes.
kind of trickles down there. But for our major sports,
Yes. I like the Celtics. Any chance I can to go to a Celtics game, I will because I do like basketball. My mom was a Hall of Famer for her college
Ooh.
in Maine. Yep.
Oh,
So,
wow. Let's go.
big basketball
You
family.
Maine Hall of
Wow.
Fame?
She was at Huston up in Maine.
Oh, okay.
She like played with
Was she really a Hall of Famer or did she put everyone under one of those witchy spells?
you know,
And
I-
everyone thought that, and she just went and changed the score.
yeah.
You will
Yep.
not play defense.
My next would be Patriots. I actually a couple games ago was like lucky enough to be on the field and in the tunnel when they came through.
Ooh.
I was like 2 feet away from Drake May and Stephon Diggs, so that was pretty cool. So I follow the Patriots. I kind of got out of it when we started sucking, but now that
Yeah.
we're good again, I'm like excited again.
Mm.
So
Love that.
those are
That's
the two. I like baseball, but I don't follow it really, and I'm not a hockey person. I've never really gone to a game, so
All right, I gotcha.
yeah.
Let me ask you something. Do you feel like New England's got some nostalgia for you?
Oh yes.
So if you were gonna say, I would love to just have a New England nostalgic day, what would
Hmm.
that be for you? Is it like
Yeah, it's the
recent
Freiburg
when you
Fair.
were a kid? Like what would be like? Where would you go? What would you eat? What would it
Freiburg
smell
Fair.
like?
That's my answer. Freiburg
The-
Fair up in Maine.
Okay, I've never been.
My happy place. It's like in the woods. It's in the fall, which is the best season. I know that's a question you have.
There
I'm a
we go.
fall-
You nailed 2 questions in one. Your favorite season is fall. Bang.
So the fair, it's up in the woods in the fall. There's farm animals and fair food and gambling. I just try to go every year. I didn't make it this year, but to me, it's just like the most Maine nostalgic activity ever, and I love it.
Wonderful. Love that for you. Now, if someone were to ask you, something that might be overrated about New England, what would you say?
Boston traffic.
Mm.
It's just so bad.
You're saying it's overrated or underrated?
Oh, overrated. Do you ask me if it's underrated?
Well, I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm saying, so what do you mean by it's overrated? Like
it sucks.
yeah, okay, I gotcha. You're
Like,
smarter than me, so you probably mean that in a good way, and I'm just like, my brain's
No,
not
I
getting
probably switched the two, but
there. Just because we've had people say that it's very underrated how bad our traffic is. Like people don't truly understand it.
yes. I think overrated as like, ugh, it's overrated.
Yes.
Mm.
So
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what would
It's
be an
your
underrated
answer.
for
You
you?
can switch whatever
Yeah, you do
want.
whatever you want. Don't listen to me. My brain is just
I'm switching them up.
my brain stopped growing at about 7th grade. So
Underrated. Well, now I'm switching them, but for underrated, I'll say what doesn't get enough hype that should.
okay, let's do that.
I don't know. I think everything. Maybe. Oh, well. Okay, let me go back. I think Cape Cod is overrated. I don't like Cape Cod.
Bam, hot take right
That's
there.
the
Cape Cod
answer we're looking for.
overrated. First
Just
time
like
on the So
Cape
New England
Cod.
podcast, Cape Cod has gotten overrated. And I
Just
have
don't
to
keep
say, I happen to agree. I
I
happen to
know
agree.
we
Now,
make
I
it
will
right.
say this. Cape Cod is beautiful.
Sure.
I do love it. I just think that people flying from all over the country to come here is a little bit like, you can get that beach anywhere.
I
And
go
there's a hell of a
north.
lot more sharks on that tip than there is anywhere else around
Yep,
here.
and
Yeah.
just congestion. It's kind of old
One
and
road.
outdated. I go north. I'm on the main beaches.
The only
Gotcha.
cool thing about Cape Cod is the one town named Sandwich. Because
True.
they have the sandwich police there, and it's freaking awesome.
I do love that. That is
That's
funny.
it. The only reason they're cool is because their cop cars say the sandwich police.
I agree.
And it's
I agree.
ridiculous.
I've actually I've been to the Cape like twice.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I went to the Cape once and I was like, if this is what the beaches are like, this is definitely not it.
I
'Cause
agree.
it sucked. I don't know where I went, but it sucked.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. And the traffic getting down there is terrible.
Mm.
Terrible. Can't
Mhm.
stand it. Boston movies. New England influenced film. Do you got a favorite?
Yeah, again, more Maine pride. I grew up loving Stephen King. Maybe that's the witchiness in me.
Ooh, maybe. It definitely is.
Yeah, I love him. And my mom has actually run into him a bunch of times. But his book, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, of the books I've read in my life, I love that one. And that was based in the Maine woods. And I felt like as I was reading it, and I think it's a movie too, to answer that question. But a lot of his books and the movies they make from the books are Maine based.
Scary. Sounds like I wouldn't be into it. I don't do scary.
Yeah.
But I'm going to trust you that this is a great film. It's the first time we've gotten that one.
Like
What is it called
scary,
again?
but it's
Yeah, that
like
is a first. That is a first.
interesting. Like I just think it's like it keeps you on it's interesting to continue to read and listen versus, that's the kind of stuff I like.
All right. Hey, listen, there's no wrong answer. These are all your answers. So
Hell yeah.
works for me.
Excuse me.
Of course. Now you're a foodie. If
Yes.
you could assign the ultimate New England dish or a dish for each state, what would they be? You can do either or you can answer both. This is your podcast.
Wow. Okay. Maine, obviously, lobsters, but I'm going to add blueberries as well because blueberries played such an important role in my upbringing.
I love that. Did not know that, you could pick fresh blueberries in Maine. So there you
Oh,
go.
yeah. The blueberry. I think it's the blueberry state. Don't quote me on that. New Hampshire? I don't know. Let me come back to that.
Yes.
Rhode Island, I'm going to say Stuffies because I know that's like a big
Yes,
thing.
there we go.
And I love Stuffies. My best friend is from Burrville, so I used
Wow.
to visit her a lot and that's the sticks.
Yeah, poor thing. Jesus. No one's from Burrville in Rhode Island.
So she introduced me to Stuffies, and I really like Stuffies. Connecticut, I'll say pizza, obviously. I think New Haven, right? Isn't that like the pizza?
Yep.
They have
It's good.
can't remember. Yeah, Frank Pepe.
Frank Pepe's.
Vermont, I don't know. I literally don't know Vermont at all. Maybe maple syrup, I'll guess. I don't know.
There we go. Go for it.
Am I doing this right?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay. New Hampshire, I have no idea. I just don't. What would you say?
Apple cider donut.
Oh, okay. Good.
They're very, very popular or like a good apple pie, apple
Yep.
crisp. A lot of apples in that area.
Oof.
Okay,
Apple
So I'm
cider
told.
donuts. I miss them already.
I do love a good
yeah.
cider donut. Those are the best.
I love donuts.
But what would you say is the ultimate food dish?
For each
New
state?
England.
For New England. Oh, for New England, I'm going to say seafood. I'm going to say lobster.
Straight up lobster, lobster roll, lobster bisque.
I'm going to say just like a steamed lobster, because when you go down in the South or anywhere, all the lobsters they get are from New England. So it's like, that's just the simple thing that we do, a steamed lobster boil. And no matter what state you're in, everyone's got, any seafood shack has that on the menu. So I would say just like a good lobster boil with your baked potato and your coleslaw.
I absolutely love it. This has been so much fun, Brittany. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the So New England podcast and chat it up with us. It's been great getting to know you. Where can all of the wonderful listeners of ours follow you if they haven't been already?
Yes. So my handle is Boston Food Journal. That's TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And then my agency is at 117 Media, all spelled out, ELEVEN, and so forth. And my website for that is 117media.com. So you can check out some of my work there and then follow me on Boston Food Journal.
Wonderful. And anything specific or exciting you got coming up people should be on the lookout for? Or just follow along because it's always fun and exciting?
Yeah, just, new content strategies coming in the new year. So trying to get a little more personal and vulnerable and show like days in my life and how I balance, having two businesses and that kind of thing. So if anyone's interested in food, but also entrepreneurship and, strategy and creative thinking, anything like that, I'm definitely going to talk more about that in the new year. So
wonderful. Well, again, we can't thank you enough. This has been such a pleasure.
Thank you, Bryce.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right, folks, that is going to conclude episode 72 of the So New England podcast. Please try and remember, folks, life's better in New England.
Red